Who is Gary Carney? Welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. I am your host, Joel Hoxley, David Washington, and our special guest, Gary Carney, who will let, Gary, would you introduce yourself so people understand why you're on our show today?
Sure, thanks. My name is Gary Carney. I'm a candidate for Seminole County Board of County Commissioners in District 5. And I'm here to talk to you about that. And
Okay, well, what do you do for a living since you want this hard-ass, part-time job there, you know?
That's a great question. Currently, since COVID began in 2012, I've been semi-retired. That's a long story I'll get into in a minute, but I have a family business my adult children run, and I'm semi-retired. I built a wood-fired pizza company. We do mobile food and concessions across the state of Florida and actually Southeast United States. So we do music festivals, art shows, conventions. We do the Mika Auto Auction. We do all of the amphitheaters along the East Coast. And we have a little restaurant in Mount Dora. And I say we, like I said, I'm stepped back from it. My kids run the business. In the beginning of COVID, 2012, I had my first stroke. In the beginning of COVID, my kidneys failed. And I went into the hospital with, and I began dialysis in a 3.5-year fight against kidney disease. And I received a new kidney in October. And I've had 6 months to recover. And I filed right before, actually, I was about to file for State House. I've always wanted to be in public service. And, you know, when I knew that when I had my new kidney, I'd have a new life and it's time to do something. I could go start a new business. I could go back to work with my kids again, or I could go try to do something. But I have 10 years before I can retire. And I decided public service is what I want to do. So I had originally decided that I was going to file for State House back in September. And October 5th, right before I filed, I got the call for the transplant. Okay. And that put me in the hospital for a couple of months. And then the recovery, by the time I came out of the recovery, there was already a candidate filed, and I didn't want a primary. And the more I thought about the position of State House, and I thought about my health and my experience, I realized it wasn't the right position for me in the first place. So at the recommendation of a couple of people, suggested I take a look at the county commission, and I am so glad that I did. It's a role suited more for me and my personality and for my experience in life. And so I intend to run for county commissioner. I'll be the first Democrat to ever hold the seat. In fact, I'll be the first Democrat to ever hold a seat in Seminole County above the school board. There's never been one ever in the entire history of Seminole County. Yeah. I'd be the first non-Republican ever in Seminole County. And I would also be I think the only person on the commission. Well, no, I can't say that. I'd be one of the few on the commission that would do the commissioner's job as a full-time job. Okay. My opponent and several of the other people they own their businesses, they work full-time jobs. And for them, the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners is a 6-figure part-time gig. And for me, it's a full-time job, and I intend to do public service just that way. So
you're a registered Democrat, correct?
I'm a registered Democrat, and I've been a registered Democrat since I could vote before I turned 18.
Okay.
Gary, if I can call you Gary.
Please.
Your experience as a business owner, how would that apply to being commissioner in Seminole County government?
My experience as a human being.
Okay.
Really, as a business owner, I've owned a few businesses. I've owned a clothing store. I've owned a printing company. I've done screen printing, offset printing, embroidery, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I've owned several businesses. I've also worked for major corporations. I opened the first 18 Bahama Breezes with Darden Restaurants.
Oh, wow.
In
Okay.
their marketing department. When Darden opened Bahama Breeze, they wanted a retail concept, and they recruited me from my store to run their retail concept, and we ran it through 18 restaurants before they shut it down. So I also created, or as part of the team that created curated the music and the live entertainment for Bahama Breeze. So I have
Okay.
a vast experience. I've sailed the whole coast of the United States on one boat or another. I've been a yacht captain for many years of my life.
Wow.
And let's see, I've owned a historic home. I had a 4-story Victorian for a decade that I've remodeled. And my printing company was a 50-year-old printing company that I took back from nothing and brought in a whole new. So my experience in life is that of an entrepreneur. It's that of somebody who can see a big picture and get things done. I'm a change maker, and I've had a very interesting life that's included people from. I've worked from the dish room to the boardroom, and I know everybody in between. So
Great.
So you've taken a look at the county budget. You're also aware that the penny sales tax is going to be on the ballot.
right.
If that were to lose that penny sales tax, where do you think that the commission would be able to make that money up,
That
or
revenue.
what kind of cuts do you think you'd have to make?
To be honest, I'm not ready to answer that question. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I haven't really studied the 1 cent sales tax. I've been focused really on real estate development and the kind of things that they're doing with that, and really learning the job itself, what they're doing. The one issue right now that has really got me hot and bothered is the county commission is anxious to sell their property in downtown Sanford. They're moving their offices into the Five Points area, and they've got those beautiful property that's touches the waterfront in Sanford. They've got their commission offices now and several other buildings that they just in their last commission meeting were said out loud, let's just get it on the market. Let's get rid of that, because they want the money to open their new digs in Five Points. And I'm saying no. I am saying that is public land in the hottest city right now in terms of real estate development
Sure.
and growth.
Yeah.
And we own public land, and they're about to sell it to the next real estate developer that wants. I apologize. That's my phone happening in the room.
That's okay. We've had that happen before.
Yeah.
So
Well, but
I can't find mine.
what I see is that they're anxious to unload this public property in downtown Sanford so that they can move into new offices. And I think that that's irresponsible with their public land. They're all supposed to be conservatives, and my contention is they should conserve it. So
A lot of the issues that come before the county commission is regarding land use
yeah.
issues. What is there a particular project that is that's come to your attention that you're concerned about or would like to see move forward as far as any type of land use development?
Specifically, I can't point to one specifically that is in Seminole County.
Okay.
I was recently involved with the whole the Save the Split Oak Forest
Okay. Yeah.
initiative.
Okay.
And so on a regional basis, my opponent sits on the Central Florida Expressway Board, and the Central Florida Expressway Board is built up of appointees from around the Central Florida region.
Yes.
So of course it affects Seminole County, but one of the things that they're doing is putting this expressway extension now through the forest. There's a big fight with Osceola County and
Correct.
all that jazz, so that they literally can build another, basically Lake Nona out in the Deseret Ranch land.
Correct.
And I don't think we need to be buying or building public expressways, toll roads, so that real estate developers can develop their own property into massive cities that are going to need sewers and septic and all of the above from public works. And I think that we need to be investing our money in land that needs to be redeveloped, not new development. I am all for redevelopment as opposed to new And I'd like to see projects grow. I'd like to see our downtown urban areas grow up and not out. I'd like to see less urban sprawl. I'd like to see less need for personal vehicles and reduce our reliance on automobiles. And I think that, that's where we should be focused in terms of development is our downtown urban areas. We need to, people can't afford to live anymore in Seminole County. Anybody in Sanford is working or is living, anybody working in Sanford is living in Volusia County because they can't afford to live here in Seminole County. Go ask anybody in Sanford where they live, and I'm telling you, they live over the bridge in Volusia. And then, people all over Seminole County and every city here have no place to live because they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, prices have gotten crazy, and we need to build inventory, and we need to build inventory in the places where people can access public transportation and access, get that last mile and can walk out of their apartment and get something to eat or, get their groceries within a reasonable amount of distance. So,
well,
that's what I see.
Don't you also believe that Orange County is actually working in Seminole County? So it's just
Orange County is moving into Seminole County.
Yes, exactly.
Whether Seminole County likes it or not.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's coming.
So
and
like
we have to plan for it. The problem is now we have 7 cities in the county.
And Castleberry is well on its way to accepting these individuals in their. I live in Castleberry, and I know that other than making a walkable community, we've had Commissioner Mark Bush on the show and to talk about the new fire, the new police station and the what we're doing. We're actually accepting, this urban development that we're about to go through. Right. So I think we're on the border of Orange, so we're seeing the same thing you're saying. You're seeing from in Sanford. So
well, I'm saying it's a good thing. I'm saying we need to develop those downtown urban cores. I think Castleberry's done a really good job with that, and I think I mean, drive you through here through Baldwin Park. I mean, this is a great example of the type of development. But this is also a big development. One real estate developer did this whole project.
That's correct.
Well, the United States Navy did this project first.
But you see what I'm saying? This was a giant planned development. Whereas, like in Sanford, we need to be educating people on what they can do on their own property, because as private property owners own a single standing restaurant that comes and goes, changes hands all the time. They don't last. And they have a giant parking lot to feed this one little building in the middle. Whereas instead of having one building with maybe 2 or 3 businesses in it, with 2 or 3 apartments above it, or 3 or 4 apartments above it, and now this same landowner has several areas of rent structure coming in. There's 3 more or 4 more, 6 more places for people to live. You know what I'm saying? We need to, if you look at 1792 going right down all the way through Seminole County, on both sides of Seminole County, they're all privately held businesses with gigantic parking lots. And couldn't we take a look? I mean, Frankie's Cleaners, that building right there, or the strip malls, all these strip centers. How many apartments can we fit on top of strip centers?
I agree. And to see so many parking lots, like, can we have like parking garages instead? And like you said earlier, build up. I love the idea of having, retail at the bottom and then, residential above. And I grew up in Chicago, so I saw a lot of that.
Exactly.
And here in Baldwin Park,
that's exactly
you have some of that.
Right.
Too.
But they're all triplexes. They're all privately held triplexes or quads or duplexes that one person can own, or one person can own the apartment.
Right.
So people have ownership. What we have now is either single family homes or apartment buildings. So you either own a single family home, which you can't get into for less than $420,000.
That's true. Yes.
Anywhere. Or you can live in an apartment that is built like crap. For starters, 90% of them are terrible the way they're built. You got your neighbors, and you have no idea who's coming, who's going, who's moving in next week, or who's not. So and the kids that grow up in these apartments, what do? They have maybe a parking lot and hopefully a playground to grow. And so
how much of I didn't mean to interrupt, but how much of 1792 actually is county? County covered, because you're going to have you have a lot of these cities that actually control most of that. Like Castleberry has a portion of it, Maitland has a portion, then you have Longwood trying to get their portion of 1792. So then Sanford gets its part. Right. So how much is
I'm not trying to suggest I'm going to go into the county commission and make that happen. I mean, that's impossible. What I'm saying is that's the kind of thing that I would look for in our laws.
Right.
Number one, I don't even think it's legal to open up a triplex. You know, I mean, you'd have to really look at the zoning laws and to see what they allow. But that's the type of thing that, you know, I would work towards certainly getting to understand. And then, I mean, there's just a number of projects and the number of things going on. I mean, the Midway project with the drainage, and I just visited a community yesterday of really beautiful homes on the river that are just flooded flooded year after year after year. The infrastructure that needs to be, and that's a septic sewer issue. You know, they're all on septic, and when it floods, it's, you know, sewage in the streets kind of thing.
Right.
And so there are towns all over, and that actually is outside of Sanford city limit. That's a county community. So there's all sorts of communities that need the basic infrastructure projects to be done. And you know, I don't think we focused enough on it, frankly. I mean, we look at the Midway project going on now. Finally, it's, you know, it's rolling. My question is, when they built that airport, didn't they know that water was going to flow into Midway? I believe they did.
Wow.
And now they're mitigating it finally. But my question is why? Why are the millionaire commissioners finally paying attention to relieving the water in Midway? Because they have real estate developer friends who know they can't develop that property until A, they own it, which they're working on, and B, because they don't need the flooding problems when they get it. That's what I believe is, I mean, the underlying bottom line for the reason they're taking care of that project finally.
Gary, the seat that you're seeking to hold is held by an incumbent. And so I like to ask my clients and our guests, if they're facing an incumbent, what's the reason to fire them and hire you?
Okay. Great answer. I have never met personally my opponent. By all accounts, she is a very, very effective leader. She is a person that is very much in control of herself and her message, and I think that she's skilled as an insurance agent in her business, whatever. She was born into the second largest privately held insurance company in the country. I don't hold that against her.
Sure.
I mean, she was privileged for sure. She's her company has been the insurance agent for the Seminole County for over 2 decades. Okay. She is the wife of I think it's Judicial Circuit Judge Hurt.
Circuit judge.
Okay. A circuit judge in Seminole County. She works full time in her insurance business.
Okay.
Right. And she sits on the boards that she's appointed to through the commission, which is part of the job, CFX board and other boards. But she also, in that type of a lifestyle, has other boards she sits on. She has other obligations in her life. And I don't think that Seminole County needs to be paying her a 6-figure income for a part-time job, especially with the connections that she has. I think she's in the position because she's a wealthy Republican, and she's paid her dues within the party, and she's got the position because of her wealth and her position. And I don't think it's appropriate for the agent that has handled the county's insurance for 2 decades to now also be a county commissioner. I think she's a very talented person in business, and more power to her and her success in her business. But I think you should make a choice. If you're going to be in business, you step aside if you're going to take a public service position. And I don't think that any of my opponents have done that.
Okay. So you take over, you win in November. What is Commissioner Gary Carney going to bring to the commission?
Okay. The first thing is I'll bring some new insight. Okay. Like I said, I mean, I can't make it any clearer. The Board of County Commissioners in Seminole County for, well, at least 75 years. I mean, since there's 2 people that have won the county in history, Joe Biden in 2020 and Harry Truman in 1948. Right. Those are the only 2 who have ever carried Seminole County above the school board level.
That's Democrats.
That's Democrats, excuse me.
Mhm.
So I've got a challenge in that. When I make the commission, I'll be one voice in five. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not going to change the world, but I think I can add a new perspective. I think that
Okay.
I can add some transparency, and I can look under the covers where others won't, because they have loyalties. They have party loyalties, and they have their own, you know, their own party to deal with, frankly. And you know that I hate to make this race about party,
Sure.
because it's the position is not a party position.
It's
The
not partisan.
position should be a nonpartisan. It is a partisan.
Oh, it
I
is
mean,
partisan.
it is a
Okay.
partisan race, no
Yes.
doubt. But I don't believe it should be. The
Okay.
county commission is a local thing. That there's not many issues that really come down to a party line. It's
Mhm.
more. I think that if there's a division, it's the have and have nots.
Okay. Okay.
Is the real division
Right.
in in the reality of the commission. So the things overall that I see the commission does is, number one, they're all about revenue. They're about a revenue, and they're about efficiency. Everything that they do and every project they look at is about revenue and efficiency.
Mhm.
And in public service, those two things are good, but that's not all. You have to understand that public transportation doesn't make money. Public
That's true.
transportation loses money,
That's
but it
correct.
is most valuable to the society as a whole that we have good public transportation, so people can earn a living
Right.
and people can live where they earn, and they can get to the things that we need. We have to have public transportation. It's too expensive, and it's too difficult for young people in this world to be able to afford a car and a cell phone and a house to live. And unless they're tripling and quadrupling up in these, into apartments, they can't live anywhere in
Yeah.
Seminole County. So we have to have public transportation, and that costs money, and we have to spend that money. And the biggest problem with that is there's too many partners in the game. We need to. We have the Sunrail running right through Seminole County
Right.
that runs 9 to 5. It's useless,
Right.
right? So I mean, shouldn't that be number one? Shouldn't that be running until midnight at least? So you can go to a basketball game and come back, or you can go downtown to go to the Fringe Festival, or you can go to anything in downtown Orlando. I mean, we should be a part of downtown Orlando, but at this point, that's the whole point of Central Florida, is that we ought to be accessible. We ought to be able to jump on the Sunrail and get to the next transportation that'll take us to Sanford Orlando Airport, or it'll take us, down to the other
MCO.
airport.
Yes.
We ought to be able to jump on public transportation and drive to Universal, or ride to Universal and ride right past the Disney. But none of these people will allow it to happen, because Disney doesn't want Universal to be the first stop, and Universal doesn't want that stop to go all the way to Disney.
Right.
And the airport, the Sanford airport, doesn't want the big airport to have the same
Oh.
transportation. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a regional thing that we have
Right.
to deal with. So what I can tell you is that they line up. The commissioners that we have now, and always have, they line up behind what the party wants and what the controlling interest wants. There's fights occasionally.
Yeah, I'm
Not
gonna
at all.
stop that one right
Yeah.
here, because there's no party loyalty with our commissioners. There's
Is that
a
right?
very divided. Listen, I go to the Republican meetings, and I
Right.
know that they have not only have they gone after uh, the supervisor of elections, but they've had
That's
many interesting squabbles with Amy Lockhart.
Yes.
I don't know. I've never seen your opponent at a meeting. I know that DeLowry has been to meetings but never says a word. But
all
as
that
far as
doesn't
their
mean that
involvement,
they're
as far as
not-
their involvement with the party,
that you're aware
Right.
of.
I'm saying, as far as their involvement with the party locally,
Locally is
no,
different.
there's no loyalty there. So
Yeah, I don't think I think locally the party is very different than the larger scale.
and then I don't see,
Mhm.
and I'm just saying my
Yeah.
view. I don't see Lee Constantine as being anything but a moderate
I know that.
as far as his environmental
Right.
causes and the way he's grown into his position. But he's been in politics his
Forever.
entire life.
He's
so
a consummate politician. I think he's
Right.
skilled.
no,
Yeah,
and I'm not,
absolutely.
and I'm not trying to, but I'm just saying, like, the party line, I haven't seen.
No,
I
okay,
haven't seen a consistency
right.
with party politics, but you might see something different.
Right.
I'm a huge conservative, and I watch the commission, I watch the cities,
Mhm.
I think that, Seminole has too many cities
Mhm.
compared to, other counties the same size. I
Right.
mean, our density is there, but yeah. But it's not about me. I just
Sure.
wanted to say, because I like the party thing.
Right.
I don't see it as much as you do, but you would be a brand new voice. And that's why
Right.
I wanted to ask that question, because I was really interested what perspective you bring.
Yeah. The other, as I look at it, and I'm still learning the game.
Sure.
Until you get in the game, you really don't know, what's being played. But so I'm still learning the game, and I've had a lot of conversations with people inside. And I was 15 years in Lake County, and so I know a lot of people there. And if you know Seminole County politics and you know Seminole County infrastructure, you know that Lake County is like the training ground for Seminole County growth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know how you lived in Lake County and be a Democrat.
Well, yeah, I was one of the few. I'll tell you what, I ran men's ministries in Lake County for years, and I was fighting against George Bush, and all my friends were George Bush thought I was crazy. After the first term of Obama, I had a couple of friends come up to me, yeah, I voted for Obama, but wouldn't tell me, couldn't say it out public. But so yeah, I've been the lone Democrat in the room for a long time, and I have no issue with that at all.
Gary, to speak to that, Democrat to Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's get ready.
So, as you stated earlier,
Yeah.
President Biden was able to carry
Right.
Seminole County.
Yep.
There has been no other Democrat above school board to do so.
Right.
How do the Democrats become relevant again?
Oh, that's rough. Well, let me tell you this: the Democrats, I think, are poised to win.
Sure.
The Democrats, Nikki Fried has done an absolutely amazing job.
Okay.
With Danielle Hawk, I think is the girl's name. They have done a better job than they ever have of organizing Florida's candidates, giving candidates the tools that they need to win, and encouraging them. Now, I'll say that, and I really think that the Democrats are on fire as far as their organization goes.
Okay.
Okay, from a state level.
Okay.
All right, and I really appreciate the work that they're doing. What I don't like that they have done, I think the Democratic Party has made some serious mistakes. Number one, they didn't hold a presidential primary. I think that was the dumbest thing that they could have done.
That's correct.
And they did it. And I've made that clear. And I've been slapped for saying so out loud.
Well,
but
David said it too.
It's the truth. They should have held a primary.
Right.
And the Democratic Party, I don't know how to say this. They run to Democrats. They are campaigning. If you go within the Democratic Party and you want to run a campaign, they are running to Democrats.
That's right.
And as long as they run to Democrats, they will continue to lose.
That's correct.
For 75 or they've run against, or they've run as a party, and they need to get. This is not about party. They have to get over the idea. It's like if you want to get people to come to your church, you don't lead with Jesus. You lead with, come hear our music, come,
meet new people,
yeah,
network,
whatever, exactly.
And childcare,
right.
Come on.
And listen, as far as the LGBT community and all of this, I'm going to probably put my foot in my mouth here. Say I have two lesbian sisters.
Okay.
I have been involved with the LGBT community since I was a child.
Okay.
I grew up I did musical theater. I did. My younger brother was a dancer. I came from an artistic family. I've always been comfortable with people of that persuasion, or whatever persuasion. People are people, and I don't care what you look like. It's what's inside. But the Democratic Party, I hate to say it, but they run on the fringe. They're not running on the moderate. They run to they're leading with Jesus.
Yeah, they're good. They're so far to the left. They're so far to the left.
Exactly. And they're running as a group so far to the left that the people, even center, don't even want to hear it anymore.
Right. We're seeing more Hispanic, the Hispanic demographic that would typically answer to the call of the Democrats leave. We're seeing Black men leaving the party. And so we've been talking about this for a while. that there's a growing non-party affiliate demographic here in Florida, and the Democrats are not speaking their language. And it was the NPAs and the recent special election in House District 35 that saved the Democrats' ass.
Right. Well, they're very proud of that. They think that it was all them. The Democrats did it.
Well, they did.
No.
They did it all.
And then the numbers clearly say that the Democrats did not do it.
Out. And they know it. They have the data people there.
Oh,
they know it. They know it's 35 Republican, 33% Democrat, and the independents are growing, and the independents are younger.
That's right.
Younger. The Republicans are getting older. Democrats like this.
Right.
It's if you're not campaigning to the independents and Republicans,
exactly,
that's who I'm going after. That's and
we're reproducing and you're not. So
well, that's true. But again, it shouldn't be about party. But people make it about party. People vote down ballot. And I said to the Democratic Party, well, actually, no, I didn't say it. I said in a post online that I would run as an independent if I thought it was possible. I don't think it's possible.
Not the first time I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible today. And in truth, I am a Democrat because you have to be, you have to choose a side if you want to participate. And
True.
I am personally for open primaries. I am personally for ranked choice voting.
Okay.
I am personally, I would fight for both of those things. And I would love to see the both parties split and become 4 parties or 6 parties. I think that we would be better served in democracy if we eliminated the 2-party system or broke it down a little bit so it isn't as powerful as it is. Look, I was a Jimmy Carter Democrat. First book I ever read was about Jimmy Carter, and I became a Democrat then. I was a Kennedy Democrat. He obviously died before I was born, but I've sailed with Kennedys. I've sailed in that community. I've lived in that community in New England. I'm so familiar with these people. I've raced the Fagawi race. I've done the Hyannisport to Nantucket. I've been involved in this community. I know these people personally, and I'm telling you, I'm a Kennedy Democrat. I am and I'll probably get nailed for this one, but
speak freely.
I don't think RFK Jr. is as crazy as people think he is.
No, he's not.
And I think that we need to talk about that. So
I don't know the story about the worm and eating his brain, and
the stories about him are really trying to take him out.
They're trying to take him
out. They're trying to.
This is the party politics. This is party politics. So
this is what look at the shit they're saying about him in public.
10 years ago,
and then go talk to the man or go listen to the man what he really has to say.
Right.
And he ain't as crazy as they're making him out. They're afraid of him, and that's why
they are afraid of him because he takes away from the vote. But
yeah, exactly. But that's a whole nother topic that county commission has nothing to do with.
No, but see, that's the thing.
Stay away from it.
The questions always seem to come to that when you start talking to constituents or you start talking to voters, and the first thing they want to know is, do you support Biden or are you a Democrat? It's like the same questions, and you're like, I'm running for county commission. Can you understand what that does? But one of the things is we try to educate here. And I don't know if we get a chance to talk about this when we were talking about the show. How are you going to get them to vote the bottom of the ticket up? Because if you know who the person on the bottom of the ticket is, you're a smart voter. You're the guy I want voting.
Yeah, I think so as well.
How are you going to get those people out there and say, this is the most important race? Who cares about Biden? Who cares about Trump? Well, how do you get them to vote for you?
I don't know. And so I've tried to look at this thing from, well, the Democrats have their strategy, and they've shown their plan. They knock on doors and they do their thing, and it's all good stuff. And in some cases they win. Obviously in Orlando they have a much better success rate than they do out here, and I think that's going to move this way over time. But right now I think so. What I've been doing is I've been spending my time at bars and restaurants. All right. I've been singing karaoke whenever I get the opportunity because people will come and talk to me after I sing a little bit, and then I can tell them who I am. I'm just out there trying to meet people. I'm going to every commission meeting I can go to, every organization, every group. I'm just trying to shake hands with as many Republicans and people that don't pay attention to politics. What I've tried to do is never wear a name tag. I'm not walking around with my sign. I'm not trying to campaign loudly so people get used to my name yet. I will when the time has come. But right now, I really feel like getting to know people who care, people who are connected and understand what's really happening, regardless of the party, especially the Republicans who are frustrated with the shit that's going on. Because again, this is not a party thing in the county. There are just as many Republicans and independents that are annoyed about that can't afford to live, that can't afford the things that they need, that are unhappy with things or have issues. And I think I just need to continue to meet people and speak to them about the things that affect them and forget the whole party noise.
Well, you definitely intrigued me because I'm total opposite. I'm a Ronald Reagan Republican. I became a Republican at 12 years old.
Right.
I followed Ronald Reagan. Couldn't stand the gas lines. Couldn't
Right.
stand the inflation. Couldn't stand the hostage situation. Thought that Carter was absolutely the wonderful guy, but absolutely I just couldn't understand how he allowed the everything to get away from him. A best former president in history. He's the only person I know who could go in hospice and have his wife die before him. He's going to live forever, I think. But yeah, I'm intrigued with where you come from, and we hope you have the success that you're looking for. But how do people get involved? That's the thing that we really want you to be able to say here on this show,
which I appreciate. And so I do have my campaign website coming out. I had some issues. I will have all my signs and all that jazz. But I guess what I would need people to do, and I think the effective strategy here is people need to if they want to participate with me, help me get me elected, get me to change the commission, then I'm going to ask for people's participation at commission meetings. Okay. I'm going to call people. One of the ministries that I used to do in Lake County is I would get a bunch of men together. We called it Men in Hairnets, and we go cook at the homeless shelter. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to invite people to come cook with me and go. You want to meet the candidate? Come cook with me at the rescue mission. I'm going to try to get involved where I can. I'm involved with the Donate for Life organization. I'm going to try to be involved with as much that as I can. I'm a kidney recipient. I'm going to live my life in gratitude and do what I can to make sure that people also share their kidneys and their tissue when they can, and understand how easy it is to save lives. So I'm just going to continue to be me, involve myself as much as I can in the community, and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay.
If you're not a marrow donor, if you're not a person that has put that little mark on there as an organ donor, I mean, these are things that I know that
90% of people will raise their hand if you say, "Will you be an organ donor?" 90% of the people will raise their hand. Only 50% of the people actually click the little box.
Yeah, and most people don't know it's even there.
Most people don't know it's there.
When you get your driver's license, hey, if you're a veteran, it doesn't cost you anything extra to get a veteran on your thing. It's nothing extra to cost to you to be an organ donor. Look at the details. It's not just about registering at the DMV.
Exactly.
It's about being a service-oriented person. I appreciate you bringing that up.
It's about knowing that when you pass, you have the potential to give 2 people eyesight. You have the potential to give 2 people a new kidney and a new life. You have the potential to give somebody a heart,
a liver,
skin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just skin tissue is so. And the most interesting thing that I found after the transplant is it's the donor families. It's the people who lost a son 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that still bring to the table 50 family members that remember the son and donate to the cause and are there. It's the donor families that are the real driving force behind the love that shows up when transplant recipients and donors are there. The donors are the ones showing the love. They're amazing. So.
No, it's get to introduce you to a candidate, get to introduce you to, being involved. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
David, I don't think he's given you anything other than the fact he knows how to sing. So I don't know what kind of gotcha.
I got something else. I got a gotcha
question coming up.
All right, gotcha. Let's go.
You mentioned earlier about the businesses that you've had in the past,
right?
But what stood out was pizza.
Yeah.
And you had a restaurant that.
Well, I do. I have a wood-fired pizza restaurant.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's when I say I started the company. I opened the restaurant with my kids, but my 3 adult children own the restaurant. They own the company. I've really retired from it, so I have no controlling say, or I have no involvement in the business anymore. But it was, I founded it and ran it for 12 years, and they've taken it over and run with it. So, so I have a wood-fired pizza restaurant, and I have what they have now 4 or 5 mobile ovens that they go out and they do. They also have a chicken concept and other concepts that they do. So when we do mobile food at a festival, we'll do, 40, 50 feet of different foods and that sort of thing.
So Gary, I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
And Chicago's known for its deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
So wood-fired pizza, I guess, would be a style of sorts. Yes. However, is there a Chicago style wood fire or New York style?
All right. So we're gonna get into the pizza talk.
Yes, we're gonna have that talk.
So, all right. So I love pizza of all varieties.
Okay.
I am an equal opportunity pizza lover. I will get a frozen pizza and enjoy it just as much as I enjoy a gourmet pizza out of a wood-fired oven. Okay. And I really appreciate a Chicago deep dish style pizza.
All right.
I do not consider them the same things. All right. I mean,
sure.
You call pizza pizza, I call it, what. And everybody, no matter where they're from in the country,
I call it a cheese pie. That's what when I had it up there, I was like, my God, there's so much cheese on it. It's a pie in itself.
What it boils down to is everybody has their opinion on pizza, and everybody knows they're right. And they come to you and they'll say, you make your own dough, and and you use New York water. Do you use New York water? No, I don't use New York water, and that's bullshit anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, pardon my French.
Listen. I'm not using anything.
Really.
I'm from Massachusetts. I'm not using anything from New York.
In Massachusetts, and they put the semolina underneath the dough, and you get those crunchy bits.
Cappuccinos. You can't get it anywhere in Massachusetts.
No, I'm a Pepe's from New Haven fan, and so what I did was Neapolitan style, but I didn't do true Neapolitan style. If you do true Neapolitan style, it's thin. It's this. I did what I thought was a great pizza, and it's got a thick crust and a thin, crispy center, and it cooks in 90 seconds, and they crank them out, and people can make them how they want, and and we crank out some really good product. So
the question.
I was the pioneer in the industry in the Central Florida area. There was actually 2 other mobile ovens, mom and pops, that were in Central Florida when I brought my first mobile oven to Central Florida.
Okay.
I started out at the Gasparilla Music Festival in Tampa was my first event, and I did the Orlando Fringe Festival, was one of my second biggest events, and I built the business from there. And before, it was 3 or 4 years before I started seeing other ovens popping up around Florida, and then all of a sudden the food trucks. And I'm telling you, half the people in the business learned the business from me.
Wow.
Well, here's the question. Just like Republicans and Democrats, this question has to be asked. Pineapple on pizza.
Perfectly okay.
Okay, well, all you people that don't like pineapple, you've heard it here.
Will your family have their pizza truck at the Fringe Festival this year?
No, they won't.
No.
They stopped doing after COVID. The Fringe shut down a year or 2, I guess, or a year. No, it's a function of growth. We outgrew it. I hate to say it, and I wish that they still did it personally. Sure. I wish we had an oven that could be there for the week, and I even said I would ban it if they could, but they got to go with the businesses, and that's
sure.
And they need employees. The Fringe Festival is a marathon. You're open for 10 days, and it's just not a good festival for their business model anymore.
Okay.
So it was great for me for a decade.
Sure.
But this year I'll get to go for the first time as a patron and not a vendor. So
hopefully I'll see you there. Yeah. Excellent. Great.
So if you're interested in the Seminole County race for county commissioner in District 5, Gary is your Democrat candidate. He'll be on the November ballot. There's no primary for him as of now. Qualifying hasn't completed. So if you're a Democrat planning on running against him, watch this show so you know that what he stands for. Hey, look, Facebook.
Yeah, actually, I've made my Facebook public so anybody can check it out.
So
and I didn't edit it. It is who I am.
Okay, so Facebook, it's open. Let look him up.
That's right.
And his website's coming out.
GaryCarney.com.
GaryCarney.com, and just get involved. If you have any interest in knocking on doors or going to county commission meetings, when are those meetings?
Yeah. The county commission meets every other week on Tuesday, or twice a month, the second and fourth Tuesday of the
Okay.
month, I believe.
And if you don't remember, you can get that on the county website.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll see you around Seminole.
Okay. Like, share, make sure you send this message when you see it forward if you support Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.